Good afternoon and welcome to Waco Rotary. I'm pleased today that we will be hearing from our new mayor, Dillon Meek, and hear about his vision for Waco along with some up-to-date information about vaccines. As a reminder, even though we're meeting virtually, we're engaging in many of our normal routines that we do, and we hope that hearing our national anthem, saying the pledge, and praying together helps put you in the spirit of serving in Rotary. So we hope you enjoy this rendition of the national anthem today.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
And conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto: in God we trust.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now will you please bow your heads with me. Dear God, be with the leaders at all levels of our country. May your spirit give them your heart for justice and mercy for the people of our world. Grant them wisdom to know all power comes from you, and so the need to seek you daily as they lead. Instill in them humility, and grant us wisdom to know how to best work with our city, county, state, and national leaders for your glory and honor. Amen. As long as we are meeting virtually, as a reminder, we are providing videos of student guests. These students will receive information about Rotary. They get a one pager to talk about what civic clubs are and what Waco Rotary is, and a video. And then they actually put their videos together so that we can see some of these amazing students. And we host 2 students from various high schools in McLennan County each meeting. So you're going to hear from videos from 2 student guests, and these are from University High today.
Hello everyone from the Waco Rotary Club. My name is Emily Alvarado, daughter of Martin and Cecilia Alvarado. I am currently a senior at University High School and a dual credit student of McLennan Community College. At University, I am a part of the National Honor Society and Student Council. At MCC, I am a part of the Phi Theta Kappa Association. In the community, I enjoy volunteering at local events. I am also a Sunday school teacher at Sacred Heart. Upon graduating high school, I plan to attend Sam Houston State University and earning a bachelor's degree in psychology. After earning my bachelor's, I plan to earn my master's and PhD in psychology as well in order to become a pediatric psychologist. Thank you for your time and for having me as a student guest.
Hello, Rotary Club of Waco. My name is Corinne Rodriguez, and I'm a senior at University High School, as well as a dual credit student enrolled at MCC. My parents are Abel Rodriguez and Erinelli Rodriguez. Some of the school activities I have participated in is I am in University's cross-country and soccer team. I'm also the Vice President of National Honor Society, a member of Upward Bound for college preparation, and I'm the University Engineering Ambassador for University's Engineering Academy. Some of the volunteer activities I participate in is that I mainly volunteer at my local Sacred Heart Church as an usher, lector, and altar server. Some of the future plans that I intend to do after University High School is that I plan to enroll at UT Austin and major in civil engineering and minor in business and finance. After obtaining those degrees, I plan to locally come back to Waco and join a local firm in order to gain experience. Afterwards, I hopefully plan to start my own firm and grow from there. Thank you for your time, and thank you for having me as a student guest.
That's great. As a reminder, we thank Susie Pagel and her committee for putting those videos together. It's really great to see all these inspiring students, especially during this challenging year, how upbeat they are and positive, and I hope you enjoy hearing from them as well. Next, we have our speaker of the day, and I am just pleased that we're able to do this for everyone because we're starting a new year, and it's going to be great to hear from our new mayor. So I'll introduce Dillon, and then we'll hear from him. And then Dillon, as you were joining the meeting, we did say we were going to ask people to put questions in the chat. I'm not sure how long your presentation is going to work. And we'll ask everyone for their patience because we're going to have to get Dillon's PowerPoint set up. And so it may just take us a second to get situated here before he gets going. But I'll just introduce Dillon quickly for those of you who are not aware of his background before him being elected as mayor. He began his career in 2010 after graduated from Baylor Law School and went to work with Haley Olson, a local full-service civil firm representing mostly local governments and financial institutions. In 2013, he went to work for a local investment company, Rydell Holdings, and he currently serves as general counsel and executive vice president of development for First Title Company in Waco. He also is on several boards in Waco, including the Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization, City Center Waco, Downtown Farmers Market, and the Community Loan Center. And he has a background with a number of organizations and boards in our community. So in his short time since getting out of law school, Dillon has really engaged with the community and served in a lot of capacities. I've had the pleasure of working with Dillon as a colleague for several years now, and I know he has a deep passion for Waco and a strong commitment to a bright and prosperous future for us all. And so, Dillon, I want to thank you for running for mayor and agreeing to serve and for joining us at Rotary today.
So excited to be here today. Tyler, I think you're setting up the PowerPoint, is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's great. Awesome. Well, let me know when you got that rolling and I'll get us kicked off. I'm going to try to go quick, and there we go. We got a lot to cover. I'm going to hit the high points and try to reserve time for comments at the end. And going to start by talking about city personnel, a couple of city updates that people might be curious about, and then wrap it up with kind of where we're headed. So here's our first slide. This is Waco Mayor Kyle Deaver. He was such a servant-hearted leader who led our city so well with a servant heart, steady head, and strategic mind. And I'm thankful for him and his time as serving as our mayor. Next slide is going to be me and my family. This is a brief introduction for me. Ashley hit the kind of it was a great introduction, Ashley. Thanks. But that's the more boring part. This is the fun stuff. This is my family. This is my wife, Lindsay, my daughter, Mabry, who's 4, and my son, Davis, who's 2. And So thankful for them. And a little more background, I grew up outside of Victoria and came to undergrad and law school at Baylor and stuck around. And I think Ashley hit the rest of my bio. So excited to be here, excited to serve. This is our council who it really is just the dream team in terms of city council members who are so dedicated to our community, who love our community so well, and each contribute uniquely to the goals and missions that we're trying to fulfill here at the city level. So thankful for each one of them. This is Bradley Ford. We have a really great city staff as well. Bradley Ford is our new city manager. He just got sworn in. We also have Jennifer Ritchie, our city attorney, who does just an excellent job representing us. Is this going on automatically, or is it sorry guys, the PowerPoint, is it clicking on a?
No.
Okay, great. Yeah,
All right.
perfect. No, you're great. That's great. Just didn't want to get ahead of ourselves there. And then also recently promoted at the city level is Deidre Emerson, who's our deputy city attorney, and Esmeralda Hudson, our city secretary, and Judge Taylor, who's our municipal judge. And so that team of folks is really, we're so blessed to have each one of them and their departments who do such a good job in representing us. I'm really thankful for all of them. This is again Bradley Ford and his family when he got sworn in to serve as city manager after Wiley Stem retired. And we're definitely going to miss Wiley. He did a great job serving our city, but I'm so excited for Bradley and Deidre to be at the helm. I think that they're going to do an excellent job bringing innovative and exciting ideas to our community. All right, next slide. Thanks again, Tyler. This is COVID. So a quick COVID update for you. It has been definitely a difficult time as the city has had to step up and respond largely to so much of the challenge that has come from COVID. I just got off of a call with our hospitals earlier this morning, and although capacity continues to be a concern, we've got a great plan in place to continue to address that, but our hospitalization rate continues to climb. The number of remains on the refrigerated truck here locally also continues to rise. So it's something that we must take seriously, listen to local trusted doctors who we know, and exercise caution as we approach this virus. COVID Waco continues to be an excellent source of data and information with regards to all sorts of things as it relates to COVID in the Waco community. So I would encourage you to go there for any information that you might have. I do want to say thank you to our healthcare providers and hospitals, nurses, doctors, and first responders. Their trusted advice and information has been so invaluable. I also want to quickly note that there'll be more information with regards to this subject matter. Every Wednesday at 1:30, we host a press conference with the chief medical officers from Hillcrest, Providence, and Jackson Griggs from the Family Health Center, as well as our county judge, Scott Felton. And we go really deep and talk about what's happening with regard to COVID in Waco in a very in-depth way. So always feel free to tune in live at 1:30 on Wednesdays or check those out. They're available in their entirety on almost all of our media websites as well as the city website. Next slide. One thing I really want to bring up is, you can go to the next slide. That's just a screen of COVID Waco, is our working groups. This is an example of something that was really creative, that I thought was really smart and strategic. When the realities of COVID began to set in, the city rose together and put 4 working groups together: our health response and coordination team, a business and individual financial recovery group, a strategic communications group, and social services and education group. And those are chaired by different folks. The health group is chaired by Jackson Griggs and council member Kelly Palmer. The business and individual financial recovery group is chaired by Jim Holmes and Sarah Roberts, who serves as the chair of the Business League. The strategic communications group is chaired by Hector Sabito and Natalie Kalinsky at the Waco Foundation. And the social services and education group is chaired by Andrea Bearfield and Susie Painter March at Prosper Waco. And this was a real quick response to pull stakeholders and community members together to really make sure that we were addressing all of the things that came from COVID with a strategic, collaborative approach. And I think that we've really tried to do the best we can with regard to that. The next thing I want to talk about, and we can stay here. There's not a slide for this, is vaccines. I want to be clear about a couple of things. One is vaccines are regulated by the state and distributed to about 40 providers here locally. So a provider is a word that gets used a lot. A provider is basically someone who gets the vaccine and then will distribute it to patients. That's everything from pharmacies like HEB and CVS to hospitals, to doctors' offices, to our own public health district. We have about 40 providers in Waco. They have a direct contractual relationship with the state. There's no local control over how they distribute their vaccines. Our health department and Office of Emergency Management will serve as a convener of those providers. We'll try to provide wisdom and insight and share methodology as we're available to. But the only thing the local government has direct control of is our own public health district, which is a provider of the vaccines. This week, we did get 1,500 vaccines to be distributed to phase 1A and phase 1B candidates. So that means if you're a first responder, an essential worker, someone who is 65 or older, or that has a pre-existing condition. These can be further defined at covidwaco.com. We have a vaccine FAQ page that answers that and many more questions in greater depth. And I would encourage folks to go check that out. But right now, when our public health district gets vaccines to distribute, what we'll do is you can sign up to get an email for that. If the slots get filled up, which currently they are, you can put your name on a wait list. And when there's a cancellation or we get more vaccines, you will be notified. And so what I would encourage you to do right now is to submit your name and email for that wait list. One of the ways that we've been told for our community to get more vaccines is to have a good, solid wait list. So I know that this is a interesting process, to say the least, but I would encourage community members to add their names to that health district wait list, and hopefully that'll be one way that we can get more vaccines delivered to you. Again, there's a lot of FAQs on our COVID Waco page, and I would check that out. Okay, a couple quick updates from the city perspective. Next slide, please. I-35, we're over 50% complete, ahead of schedule. TxDOT is saying they might complete this as early as 2022, although the stated completion date is at the end of 2023. We're hopeful that they'll stay ahead of schedule, but we know that those things always change. Next slide is the suspension bridge is under construction. This is one of Waco's most historic landmarks, and so it's definitely time, after careful study, for some rehabilitation, and we're doing a multi-million-dollar project to do that. It's expected to be closed for about 16 to 22 more months. Space around the bridge will be kept as open as possible, but the bridge itself will be out of commission so that we ensure that it will remain open for generations to come. Next slide is, this is exciting. This is on 25th Street. This was where the 25th Street Theater was. That facility had become so dilapidated, beyond repair, beyond preservation. But I'm really proud of our city. We needed a fire station in this area. And so this is going to be a new fire station. It's also going to host a community meeting room. It's at the intersection of several neighborhoods. And so I'm really excited that this fire station is honoring the architectural legacy of the 25th Street Theater, and will also be, it's where we needed to put a fire station, a new fire station in our community. So it's knocking out a couple birds with one stone, and I'm thankful for that. It's going to be a great capital improvement for that neighborhood. But one thing I wanted to highlight quickly about our fire department as well is our fire department received an ISO 1 rating recently. That's the highest rating a fire department can achieve. It's very rare to get that. And one incidental benefit that the viewers of this program can benefit from is you can call your property insurance provider actually, and request a premium discount because your city has an ISO 1 rating in their fire department. So property insurance premiums could actually be discounted for that. So I'd encourage you to check that out. Next slide, please. Continue to have a really robust infrastructure and street program. This is kind of the bread and butter of city business and continues to be a priority for our city. You can learn about the big projects at betterstreetswaco.com and our city website. We're really working to ensure that we can fund these infrastructure needs, and we'll continue to examine impact fees and stormwater fees. And we hope that in securing these diversified funding streams for this infrastructure, that it will result in property tax relief. In other words, we're really hoping to have a reduced property tax rate this year because we've been able to achieve other funding sources for infrastructure. But my commitment is to ensure that we strike the right balance of having funding mechanisms for infrastructure while also keeping the cost of living and cost of doing business in Waco as low as possible. And I look forward to having conversations with community members about that. Next slide, please. Exciting year for economic development in Waco. I won't go into the depths of each of these announcements, but bottom line is we have about 1,250 new jobs, full-time, good-paying jobs coming to Waco. Again, full-time jobs paying good wages that have full medical, vision, dental packages, 401k packages out of the gate for their employees. And as we seek to raise our median income, this is a great way to achieve that. I'm thankful for the city and county's work in partnership with our Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce to attract and get these organizations to come to Waco. Next slide, please. Riverfront development, something that our community has been excited about for a long time, has gone vertical. University Parks continues to be closed, but that will reopen at the end of this month. And then the completion of phase 1 for the riverfront development, which includes parking garage, apartment, retail, and the farmers market, is anticipated in the spring of 2022. With many buildings being completed in the course of this year. So we're excited about that. All right, next slide, please. This is a Top Golf. That's another exciting feature coming to Waco, and that has gone vertical as well. Next slide. Okay. Want to shift. I know I'm going fast, guys, but there's a lot to cover, and I want to reserve time for questions. So I appreciate y'all bearing with me as we move at a steady clip. This is some discussion about some things of where we're going. My heartbeat, and something that's a high priority for all of our city, is to continue to grow our economy, and specifically in a way where everyone has an opportunity to achieve success. So really want to continue to evaluate how we recruit companies to come to Waco, how we offer incentives in our workforce training. So I'm personally looking forward to engaging in conversations with the county and Chamber of Commerce and looking at our own local city policies on how we can redevelop economic development funding policies to diversify and broaden how we engage in economic development, to make sure that we're incentivizing tech, professional service, ensure that we're providing small business and entrepreneur support, and really holistically looking at how we increase middle-class jobs in Waco. And I think that there's some small steps that we can take to really innovate our incentive offerings and bring them into the 21st century. Also very excited about, go back one slide, still stay there. Yeah, we're going to track through these. So business recruitment, we're going to take some targeted and proactive approaches to really seeking businesses, identifying them, proactively going and having conversations with them and seeking for them to come here. And then last is workforce development. An interesting statistic is that prior to COVID, our unemployment rate was about 1.9% at different times. So we had a very, very low unemployment rate, but our median income was still lower than what we wanted it to be. And then really examining that data and looking at it, people were working. They just weren't making wages that were necessarily livable. What's interesting is there are jobs in Waco, as many people that are viewing this program might be able to attest to, jobs in Waco that pay great wages, but many people in our community don't have the technical skills needed to go get those jobs. So one thing that our city wants to do is pull together different stakeholders, institutions, work with our chambers of commerce and other business partners to develop workforce training programs that really ensure that our community has the technical skills, members of our community have the technical skills or have the opportunity to get the technical skills that they need to go get the jobs that are vacant, pay good wages, and increase our median income. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so one thing that we are always evaluating is how to develop metrics and community practices to ensure that our community is safe. We are in the process of hiring a new police chief right now. And while that is a city manager hire, that is not a city council or mayor hire, it is one that I know that everyone in the city organization is taking seriously. And I know that we're going to find someone who is able to achieve the goal that we all share of having a safe community, building trust with police officers and community members alike, and achieve that shared goal. And that's what we're working towards. We have a new emphasis on neighborhoods in our community. Oh, going back to policing quickly, I'm sorry. We just set aside money for a community policing program. This is something that existed in the 90s in Waco, and it's will be a division of the police force that works strategically to build relationships with members of the community. And what we saw in Waco in the 90s and what we have seen around the country based on data is that crime decreases and neighborhoods are safer when members of our police department as well as members of the community have a relationship. And as funding has gotten tighter over the years, that's been harder to achieve. I believe that this division is going to be one step towards achieving that. We have also put an emphasis on neighborhoods. We have the infrastructure for neighborhood associations to be activated in our community, but we're really going to try to ensure that these grassroots organizations can have a say in the direction of their part of the community and try to put some money behind that. So whether that's a new PID or a new TIF zone, maybe that's some master planning around a specific part of the community, and whether it's the core of our community, like the 25th Street corridor or LaSalle, or some of the newer developed parts of our community, like the Highway 84 corridor or China Spring and everything in between. We really want to make sure that neighborhood associations can be a vehicle for people to be empowered to shape the direction of their part of the community. And last, equity. This is something that we've been talking about for a while at the city, specifically closing gaps of disparities of outcomes among races. And I'm excited our council and staff continue to work to address this. There continue to be disparities of outcomes from health to housing. One stat that specifically hits me the hardest is that 51% of Black households make less than $25,000 per year compared to 13% of white households in Waco. And so based on my time here, when Waco sees a problem, they take a smart, targeted, pragmatic, collaborative approach to solve those problems. Complex problems require complex solutions, and there aren't silver bullets, but I do think that this is an opportunity for us to work together to move forward. So there's been a call for action on this, and I think that we're going to continue to work together as a city to bring solutions to problems regarding the disparities like the one I just mentioned. So again, I think that one positive step that we can take is like the one is bringing jobs that pay good wages, and then providing skilled workforce development programs like the one I mentioned. These are ways that we can see those disparities begin to evaporate, and I'm excited for that. All right, next slide. This is the last slide. The last thing I'll say, one thing that I'm excited and our city council is excited about doing is really developing and drafting a comprehensive action plan for developing what exactly is Waco's brand. And I think probably everyone viewing this program right now has an idea of what that is, but it really has never been gelled or solidified. And so I think we need to take a step towards having some sort of community buy-in process for developing a defined brand of our city. And then the next step would be to have a marketing plan that would be targeted towards business relocation, family relocation, tourism, and probably most importantly, our own citizens around the DNA of our city. So those are a couple of things that we're working on right now. I know that was very fast and furious. I'm My wife tells me I am prone to talking too fast. So I know I was doing that in this moment, but I'll stop now and try to field some questions that I see are in the comments. I wish I could find the easiest ones and just answer those, but I'll just start at the top. So Mr. Alexander asked, will the new BU basketball arena be located adjacent to the Clifton Robinson Tower? I will say that we are working closely with Baylor for that. That is my personal stated goal. There's a lot of moving parts here in regards to a potential TIF contribution from the city as well. And I know that Baylor is evaluating a lot of different options and has a whole different set of things that we're evaluating right now. I think that there is a win-win scenario that is achievable to us. And I believe that if we can achieve that, then having that sort of foot traffic in our downtown economy is really going to benefit our downtown. So it is my goal to make that a reality. But at this point, there's a lot of moving parts. I look forward to hearing from Baylor and working from them to achieve that. Okay, can you, Jessica, can you share with the group some of the city's top priorities and concerns as the Texas legislature convenes tomorrow? So a couple of things that come to the top of my mind would be, well, obviously I'm a fan of local control because I'm a part of the local government. But what I would say in all seriousness to that issue is that one of the things that is on the agenda for the legislature that we've heard about is prohibiting taxpayer lobbyists. And let me just speak to that in case you see that in the news. The city's ability to hire lobbyists is for no other reason than there's a lot of there's a lot of different bills that get filed that could really impact the city, and to have the efficiency that comes from a lobbyist reviewing that for us and on our behalf creates a lot of efficiency for us. So it really is a cost savings measure that I would say. The other thing that really comes at the top of my priority is growing our economy, including workforce development and exciting and innovative ways that Texas can continue to recruit companies that pay good wages to come to our state. Next question from Robert West. Now that Amazon is here, does that help getting additional big distribution centers? I think it definitely can. I think that if Waco can establish itself as, I think the more Waco can establish itself to outside companies that we are a pro-business city, that we are going to work to achieve our shared common goals with different businesses. I think that it is going to be a vehicle for other distribution centers to come to Waco, and hopefully we'll have some more announcements on that soon. Next question is with our city's population growth, any chance Costco or Trader Joe's will come to Waco? That's a great question. We definitely have a list of different, and by the way, my wife asks the Trader Joe's question on a near daily basis. But I think that's definitely the case. One of the visions I have is, while my highest priority is going to be to recruit sustainable jobs to Waco that pay good wages, I do think ways that we continue to attract jobs to Waco, and it is by having quality of life type institutions like a Trader Joe's to come here. And so whether it's Trader Joe's or an organization similar to that, we have a list of kind of what I call kind of bellwether retail and restaurants, not just a typical restaurant or retail space, but when people hear that, they say, okay, that city is going somewhere. And so we would be interested in moving our organization there. And I think that's kind of, we gave a tax abatement to Topgolf. So that means we didn't cut them a check out of our coffers, but we gave them a delay on having to pay some property taxes in a way that had a great ROI on us. They're just putting it on infrastructure on the site. But when you hear Topgolf coming to Waco, there's other companies that will say, okay, that city is trending somewhere, and we'd be interested in coming there as well. So yes, we have a list like that. If you have ideas, feel free to submit those to me, and we can always add it to the list. I will say this is a team sport, taking on this role in the middle of a pandemic, and just with different challenges that came out of 2020. Several folks said, are you nervous about this? And maybe naively, I was like, I don't know that I am, because it is such a team sport and we have such a great group of people on our city staff, on council, and then stakeholders across the community. And I'll extend all the viewers of this program the invitation to be a part of that team. If you have any thoughts, advice, questions, do not hesitate to email me. I will add my email to the comments section, and you are always welcome to reach out to me at any time with any issue that we'll work to address. What other questions? Anything? All right.
All right, Dylan. Thank you so much, Dylan. We really appreciate you coming and sharing with us today, and for your willingness to serve and the energy that you're bringing to this. There's exciting things ahead for Waco, and we're glad you're at the helms. Appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely.
Great. So we just have a couple of more announcements for other things that are working. So we do appreciate everyone who's been working during this time where we can't meet live. We have some slides that are going to tell you just about a couple things. We held an election for our board of directors, and we actually also had, and so these are our new board members. Thanks for those of you who voted in November when we had this election. We do have Jessica Addis, Beth Badeau, and Michael Baldwin, who are going to be joining the board of directors. Jessica is actually going to come on as one of my appointees immediately, and Beth and Michael will start their term in July. So we appreciate these people's willingness to serve. And we had our first online election this year. We had about the same level of response we do when we have the option for live. So we appreciate everyone participating in that and doing things a little bit differently this year. And then finally, we have a slide about our literacy project. So again, even though we can't meet together, we received a literacy grant this year. And the best use of those funds this year was we couldn't really do the books, delivering them to school children this year. But several years ago, Waco Rotary provided literacy kits to the library, and it's kits that parents can take home and use for creative ideas to help learning with their children. And so you can imagine the demand was higher during this trying year where parents were home with their children a lot more. And so, and they were a little beat up because they're highly used by the library, and they were very excited when we reached out to the library to see if they'd like us to refurbish those. So I want to thank Jim Newcomb. He's our literacy chair this year, and he's leading the effort to get those kits refurbished and utilize those funds for Waco Public Library. So that's the last thing we do at any Rotary meeting is we have our four-way test of the things that we think, say, and do. I'll wait for that to come up. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thanks all of you for joining us for Rotary today. In 2 weeks, we have a presentation about the Rotary Foundation. So many of you have given to the Rotary Foundation this year and our Paul Harris Fellows, and we've had so much excitement around that. And we're going to hear from a speaker that talks about how those funds are used and how you're benefiting the world with those donations. So you'll want to make sure you join us in 2 weeks at the same place. So we appreciate you being a part of Rotary and listening to the mayor. Another thanks to Mayor Dillon Meek for being our speaker today. And we hope you have a great week. Rotary is adjourned.